Hello and welcome to this video brought to you by Smart Edu Hub Mumbai. In today's video, I shall explain to you the concepts of critical angle and total internal reflection. And for the same, I'm going to take you to a virtual lab. Yes, you heard it right. Now we are going to visit a lab which is online, and I'll be sharing the URL of that website. It's a beautiful site you must visit, especially if you do not have access to the laboratory all the time, or if your school is not conducting so many experiments for whatever reason. So, this virtual lab really works out well. So, to move ahead with the critical angle and the total internal reflection, first we'll do an experiment in our virtual lab, and then I'll give you the definitions and all the essential data that you need as a part of your theory. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and here we go to our virtual lab. Now this looks cool, isn't it? Okay, but I'm going to tell you a few things before you raise your eyebrows and you wonder what's happening. Okay, the first thing is, remember, I'm going to try and do an experiment for you online, okay? And there are no retakes in it. So the only thing I would like to tell you is that sometimes the screen will actually move whatever you're seeing on the screen, this protractor and the semicircular glass slab which is under this protractor. Sometimes while I'm trying to adjust the angle of incidence, it will shake a bit here and there, it will move, but that's normal because we are doing it in a virtual lab, and that's a part of the uh, thing what happens when you do experiments online. So you'll have to bear with it. Rest assured, you'll actually understand the concept in a very easy way. Okay, so as you can see, I have placed a protractor. Okay, this is a protractor I have lifted above, and you can see this pink line, the dark pink line that is running through the semicircular glass slab and out of the semicircular glass slab. Well, it is going straight as of now, and the semicircular glass slab is actually a denser medium. It is made up of glass, perspex, whatever it must be made up of. So it is a denser medium compared to the medium outside, which obviously is air. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to shine this pink ray of light through the glass slab into the air, meaning the ray of light will be shown from the glass slab, so the angle of incidence will always be measured within the glass slab. So when I say the angle of incidence, you have to look at the position of the pink light as compared to the normal. So the angle between the normal and the pink ray inside the glass slab will be the angle of incidence. So when the experiment progresses, I'll tell you eventually. So I'm going to place this back. Now I'm going to position exactly at the center. Note the edges of the glass slab. I'm just lifting and placing it on the center. Okay, so now why is this ray of light going through and through straight without deviation? Well, the first thing you need to understand is that refraction of light, that is bending of light, does happen when light changes media. Media is more than one medium is said to be media. That's the plural of medium. So when light passes from one medium to the other medium, the light obviously will bend either away from the normal towards the normal, but here the light isn't bending, is not bending. Why is it not bending? It's not bending because, as you can see, the ray of light is incident right on the normal. So whenever you have the incident ray of light shining on the normal directly, there is no refraction happening whatsoever. So that's the reason the ray of light will travel straight through and through the glass slab and into the air. Now let me increase the angle of incidence. Now please be careful, please bear with me in case the screen shifts, and you'll come to know what I mean by screen shifting. So basically I'm going to increase the angle of incidence, so that is the pink ray inside the glass slab will shift towards the left of the 90-degree mark on the protractor. So the 90-degree mark on the protractor is my normal, and I'm going to increase my angle of incidence till the time the ray in the air will be passing along the edge of the glass slab. If not along the edge, at least very close to the edge. Okay, before it disappears. So now let me increase the angle of incidence. So as you can notice, when I'm increasing the angle of incidence, the angle of refraction is actually increasing, and the refracted ray is bending away from the normal. So see, as I further increase the angle of incidence, the angle of refraction is again increasing. Once again it's increasing, and now I need to see how long it'll keep increasing into the air. So okay, you know what I'm doing, right? I'm trying to see at what angle of incidence is the refracted ray going to pass along the edge or the boundary of the semicircular glass slab. Okay, it's very beautiful to note at this moment. If you can see, there are two rays that you can see. One is already inside the glass slab, okay, and one is in the air section. So the one that is inside the glass slab is the reflected ray, and the one that is outside the glass slab is the refracted ray. So when we always speak about refraction happening, we think that there is no reflection. No, reflection always is a part of any type of process. So whenever you have reflection does happen, but we generally speak about refraction because that is the thing that we are most interested in. So this is a beautiful point where you can see one ray which is refracted outside the glass slab and one ray which is reflected inside the glass slab. Now I'll continue to increase my angle of incidence till, like I told you, my refracted ray is passing just along the boundary. Now this is very close to the boundary. Now let me increase the angle of incidence further. Oh, did you notice? When I increased it a bit further, the refracted ray totally disappeared. So now what am I getting? I'm getting total internal reflection. Now let me see what was the angle, okay? And this is what exactly happens even when you're doing in a lab. It's very difficult to get that angle back. Here, this is the ray. So as you can see, this ray is very close to the boundary. To the edge, it is very close. Now you'll have to, if you are not able to find the exact angle of incidence for which the angle of refraction is 90, you'll have to guess it. Okay, there's hardly any difference, but yet I'll just try to see where the angle of incidence is going to make this angle of refraction 90 degrees. So only with one more click, I don't have many choices. I can just click it once. So after this, I'm going to click it once. Now note the angle of incidence for which the refracted ray is along the boundary. The angle of incidence can be understood by the white line which is running inside this pink line here. So that is equal to, I think, 51, 52, 50. It's around 53 degrees, right? So when the angle of incidence is 53 degrees, the refracted ray is very close to the boundary. With one more click, what happens? It disappears. So I can say that the angle of incidence for which the angle of refraction is 90 can be somewhere between around 53, 54 degrees. Okay, so what is happening ideally? The refracted angle is 90 for what angle of incidence? When the angle of incidence is, say, between 53 degrees. Once more, let me try if it goes back and if we can do it. Okay, So since we are not able to, I think if we, it's a 3D figure. So what I understand is, if you consider this ray as touching the boundary and going, so that means I can imagine this angle of refraction to be 90 and this to be my angle of incidence. So I think that is the correct thing, because uh, even in the virtual lab I think I'm getting a parallax error. So this, if I see properly, I can see that this pink line is running exactly along the edge of the glass slab. So well, I think this can be taken as, okay, I can consider this can be taken as the angle of refraction to be 90. So in that case I can say that the angle of refraction is 90 when the angle of incidence is 51, 52, 53, when the angle of incidence is 53 degrees. So when angle of incidence is 53 degrees, the angle of refraction is 90 degrees. And when I increase the angle of incidence beyond 53 degrees, what happens? When the angle of incidence goes even a little beyond 53, say around 54 degrees, the refracted ray totally disappears, and what I get is total internal reflection. So what is the critical angle? Now I can define my critical angle as, it is that angle of incidence. So critical angle is that angle of incidence for which the angle of refraction is 90 degrees. So my critical angle was 53 degrees in this case, and when I increased the angle of incidence beyond the critical angle, what happened? All my refracted rays totally disappeared, and I ended up with getting all the rays which were reflected internally. So this is what I mean by critical angle and total internal reflection. So I'll just draw it for you on my screen back. So also see to it that you go online to this site, and I'll just tell you the I'll share the link from where I got this ideally. If you look at this, it is www.reading.ac.uk/virtual/ves/tir.html. So you please go to this website. It's a beautiful website, and God bless these people so that I could use it for my kids all around the world. So now let me go to the my main screen from where I'm making notes for my videos, and I'll put up a few things, a few definitions about the critical angle and the total internal reflection, and using the same 53 degrees, right? Okay. So here's the definition of critical angle. Critical angle is that angle of incidence for which the angle of refraction is 90 degrees. So this angle of incidence I over here is my critical angle. So my critical angle is 53 degrees. I'm writing CA, excuse me, there's no space here. So this is the angle of refraction. So 90 degrees is my angle of refraction, and my critical angle is the angle of incidence, which is 53 degrees. Now you found that when I increase the angle of incidence a little beyond 53 degrees, so when I took it to say 54 degrees, what happened? When I took the angle to 54 degrees, the refracted ray totally disappeared, and what I got was the reflected ray. So that's when I got my critical angle, sorry, my total internal reflection. So I'll write down the note for the total internal reflection as well. Now coming to the explanation for the total internal reflection. When the angle of incidence is increased beyond the critical angle, the refracted ray disappears totally, and all the rays are reflected internally. This phenomena is called as total internal reflection. Sorry for writing TIR. So well, that's all in today's video on total internal reflection and critical angle, and please do visit the website and do the experiment on your own. It's always better to learn from virtual labs. Okay, so in case the real apparatus is not available for you. So that's all in today's video. I hope you like watching my video. Please do subscribe to my channel if you like, and also if you want me to upload some videos based on your requirements, kindly message me. I shall do my best. I'll see to it that when I get time, I'll upload videos as soon as possible. So, okay. Thanks for watching my video.